back from commercial with Barrel or Not, brought to you by Buell, BuellSurf.com.
Exciting.
Buell Surf is doing their Labor Day sale right now. Some of the suits are marked down under $100.
Winter is coming, Northern Hemisphere surfers.
That is right. And by the way, booties are coming as well in your future, and they're marked down to around $40 on BuellSurf.com. If you want to stock up now, that would be wise.
I went bootyless last season. I oftentimes do. I'll oftentimes get a booty and then lose them, or lose one or whatever, and then go bootyless for a couple more seasons, and then think, it's time for booties again, probably. Get a pair and think, wow, why didn't I do this earlier?
I love a good booty, man.
Yeah.
Warmth, gription. Do you remember which Lost film was it? Chris Ward was 16 years old. It might have been What's Really Going On, where he had one booty. He was surfing in the front booty, but not the back booty.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that was the coolest thing when I was a kid. I was like, in hindsight, he just lost a booty, I think it was.
Yeah.
He was such an airhead, he just lost a booty. But in my mind, I was like, oh, he's got a traction pad on the back, so he doesn't need a booty back there, but he wants a booty in the front for extra grip. So
makes sense. I've done it accidentally before. It's same reason that probably Chris Ward did. Lost one and thought, one warm foot is better than no warm feet.
I guess so.
And it kind of does, your brain doesn't really know what to do when you get in that cold water. It's like, oh. And so it kind of works to short circuit for a minute.
Yeah. I think his brain exists on a totally different level. It's above or maybe below all of that rationale, and it just operates.
Yep. Perfect.
All right. Well, hey, Barrel or Nah. This came from listener James in San Diego. He called it in, but I'm just going to read it to you. Changing on the beach.
I'm going a no barrel. I am going a no barrel unless you are at the beach, right, for the day. Like if it is a family beach day and you're surfing and you need a wetsuit, then by all means, what else are you going to do, right? Like you have to change on the beach. Otherwise, it's dumb. You are bringing extra stuff to the beach for no reason. You are getting sandy for no reason. You are not going to change out of your wetsuit. Rarely. Do you ever see anyone changing out of their wetsuit into clothes to leave the beach after a session? Never. You see them in the parking lot do that. You see them on the whatever, if there's grass around. You see them somewhere else. So what is the point? The point was that you thought, I'm going to get a little chilly here. I'm uncomfortable in my clothes, so I'm going to go down there. You're just trying to preserve, I would imagine, the few more minutes of comfort of your clothes before you get in a wet wetsuit. But just man up. Change in your car like everyone else.
It's the worst. Changing on the beach is the worst. If you're getting out of the water, your wetsuit is going to get packed with sand. There's no way to change on the beach without getting sand on your wetsuit. Even if you're standing on a towel or whatever, there's still errant sand on the towel, right?
Yep.
And then your feet have sand on it and you get sand in your underwear. And I will try to build a wide hole through the leg of the pants. And I'm going to aim my foot right through there without brushing sand up against the side.
It's
never
impossible.
once successfully did it in my life. And so inevitably you get sand in your underwear, which then basically stays with you the rest of your life. Like it's not just you go home and shake it out, take a shower. Nope. It's in there permanently forever. You now have sandy underwear.
Yep. The person, I can't believe, and I would like a beach changer to call in and give me one thing. Again, the only thing I'll give you is if you happen to be on the beach all day with the family, you're not going to just sit there in your wetsuit all day, right?
I will walk back to the car and change there and then come back and rejoin my family.
I'm glad that you're that much of a zealot because I'll have to struggle. Part of it though is that I'm not getting into clothes when, I'm changing into trunks, which that solves then I can go dip in and rinse off or whatever to get the permanent sand out of my delicates.
Yep. It's a no barrel.
Zero barrel.
Don't do it. Barrel or Not. Watching a show with subtitles.
This is I read a whole story on this recently. Did you read the same one?
No, maybe the listener did. A listener sent this in a couple of weeks ago, and I've just had a stack.
Yeah, it was.
So maybe they did.
It was it was an op-ed, if I recall, about the plague of everyone watching everything with subtitles now. And this this op-ed, if I recall, writer was furious about it. And we're not talking watching with subtitles in a foreign language. We're talking
No.
about watching an English film with you as a native English speaker watching a English movie with English subtitles
In your native
with
language,
volume,
whatever it is. Yeah.
yeah, with volume up too.
Yeah.
Like, so you have volume, and then the subtitles are there. And I can't remember what he was like furious about it and thinking it was the dumbing down of the art, for whatever reason. But then he somehow came around to it. His opinion doesn't matter. Ours is the opinions that matter. I'm going to say no barrel, to be honest. I'm going to say no barrel. I've thought about this a lot. Unless there's a reason for it. If you have to have the volume down because somebody's sleeping. Again, we're talking, you can have the TV at volume, you can have whatever. I will find myself reading instinctively, can't get away from it. Obviously missing things that the director really intended for me to see, even from the subtle things to a facial expression to something, right? I'll just be sitting there reading. Like, it's funny that words, you'd think in our post-literate day and age that words on a screen wouldn't just make you like an idiocracy person just down like just reading along, but that's what I do, and I miss the whole thing and I can't help it. So no barrel.
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite. I got to go. This is the most barrel thing that I've incorporated into my life in recent years since I became an old man who sits on the lawn yelling at people. I went through a process that you went through where you are distracted and you're focused on the bottom half of the screen and you just don't even look at what's happening. I've worked past it to where my brain's operating so efficiently now, I can watch all the visuals and pick up the subtitles simultaneously.
Are you sure though? See, this is what I think.
My left eye is looking up, my right eye is looking down.
And here we go. Anybody who says they multitask in this world is a flat out liar. Nobody multitasks. Nobody does two things equally well. My wife, I'm baffled by the way she can do it, and where she can be on a phone call, texting, and there can be noise in the room or something, and also, answering. It's like four things going on at once. But I know she thinks she's doing all those equally well. I know one of those things, all of them are getting accomplished at a lower level, and three of those four at a very much lower level. So the idea of you can do two things at once. Yes, you can do two things poorly, and one thing, way poorer than the other at once. Yes.
Yeah, well,
but that's not multitasking. But I feel that's what's going on with you here. You think you're capturing it all, but you're missing the little Easter egg that the director put in. You're missing the Tilda Swinton's dip of an eyelid, just so. These little things. Yeah, who was it? The director who said, did we talk about it on the show? The director who was directing Some Good Actor and gave him direction afterwards on something, and the actor said it was like some A-list, not just movie star, but like thespian, actor. And the actor said, "Yes, I did that." And the director's like, "No, I was watching you do it. Like, you didn't do that." Then the director would go back and watch the the days, whatever they call them, like
dailies.
the little film. Yeah, dailies. Watch the dailies and think, oh my gosh, he did it. Like, where the actor, it is so subtle that you, even watching it, his naked eye didn't pick it up. He had to go back and watch it in film. That's what I'm saying you're missing. You're missing the artistry.
There's a good possibility that I missed a little detail there, but what I'm saying is I would miss details in the dialogue had I not been reading along or had the option to read along, because sometimes you don't catch a joke or a word or whatever it is. So what I'm losing visually, I'm making up for audibly, is what I'm suggesting. Like Christopher Nolan movies are notoriously poorly sound mixed, right? And it's like,
but he does that on purpose, though.
Whatever his intention is, I miss a ton of dialogue in those films, and they're hard enough to keep up with, even if you understand the dialogue. So I need every little bit of help I can get.
But he wants you to miss those pieces of dialogue for some reason. Like, that's his thing. We're watching a Christopher Nolan movie the way Christopher Nolan intended us to.
Yeah, because they don't make sense to him either, and so he needs some out that he's like, look, when people say they don't understand Interstellar or Inception or whatever it is, like, I'll just say, you didn't catch the dialogue, otherwise you would have got it.
What do you feel about the deification of Christopher Nolan post Oppenheimer?
I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, so
I haven't either.
maybe it's worth it, or maybe he is worthy of it. But I mean, he is an unbelievably skilled filmmaker. You know what I mean?
Unbelievably.
Like
But it's funny. I mean, I've loved so many of his, probably all his movies. I've thoroughly enjoyed. Right?
yeah.
And thought, like, I remember leaving Interstellar thinking, it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Right? And I guess Human Condition, rude. Maybe it's Old Man Condition. Get on my lawn. But when people start saying like Christopher Nolan's the greatest thing ever, then I want to think, well, it's not that good. It's okay, I guess. It's fine enough.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
the pile on the Christopher Nolan bandwagon is annoying.
yeah, that's always annoying, and I wouldn't say he's the greatest filmmaker of all time. Like what he does in his style is the best version of that, But there is also Scorsese, and there's
Yeah.
also Wes Anderson. Like there's a whole bunch of different things to appreciate. I don't want to have to pick a favorite.
Did you watch Asteroid City? Speaking of,
Yeah, I did.
was it like I just watched the trailer and thought I can't take anymore. It's like
I know.
Wes Anderson dial turned to 11. I get it. I get what you do. I've seen it now a lot.
So that's how I felt after the Grand Budapest Hotel. I was
Yeah.
like, this is a caricature of a Wes
Wes
Anderson
Anderson.
film, and I'm now, I'm opting out. Gotta say, Asteroid City, best Wes Anderson film I've ever seen.
What? Okay, I'm in. I'm
And
watching it.
what you were identifying in the trailer was intentional because it's actually it starts off as a television show talking about a stage play, and the stage play that they kind of go into in black and white then gets represented as a film. And so the film that you saw in the trailer, that's all like the colors are all hyper saturated and all that sort of stuff, or maybe undersaturated actually in a
It's
lot of
just
ways.
the Wes Anderson look, whatever that is.
That is because it's a stage play. Like
Okay.
in theater, how everything, the face makeup is all ramped up and all that sort of stuff. That's what that is.
Okay.
It's an intentional choice. It's not just Wes Anderson being Wes Anderson.
I didn't want to opt out. Again, Life Aquatic, one of my favorite movies of all time. But
Yeah.
I love Wes Anderson, but that trailer just did me wrong.
I know. I totally hear you, and I felt that exact same way. And then I watched it, and I'm like, this is, I mean, it still is peak Wes Anderson, but it is, the dialogue is so smart. And like the character development in kind of short spaces, like is so, everybody's so well developed, and it's funny. Like I found myself laughing out loud at times. And
Okay.
the story arc itself is really inventive, new. Like I'd never really seen anything like it before, to be honest.
Sold.
Yeah, it's really good. You'll like
Thank
it.
you.
All right, final barrel or nah. We've addressed a version of this in the past. The listener sent it in. He goes, "Hey, barrel or nah, giving cash as gifts." I'm like, "Well, you'd have to go back 4 or 5 years, but I'm sure we did address that." And he goes, "Well, what about with Venmo? What about with Cash App? What about like not a physical gift of cash, but like I'm going to a kid's party or whatever. Can I just Venmo him $20? But then I probably got to Venmo it to his mom because the kid doesn't have a Venmo. But like that's ultimately what we're going to give him. So barrel or nah, digitally sending currency as a gift."
I'm going to say no barrel. I'm going to let my old man flag fly on this one and say no barrel. That cash, if I recall, we probably barreled it timidly, maybe, of thinking like, well, it's the thought that counts. Or maybe we didn't even barrel it. Like, thought that counts.
I don't think I did barrel it. I think I was no barrel because give something thoughtful.
Yeah, give something thoughtful. It's a thought that counts. Money is not thoughtful. But in this dynamic, paper money is thoughtful. Venmo is not thoughtful.
True.
Right? Like
Yeah.
compared here, paper money is something that these days, rarely do people have cash on hand, right? So you had to go to the ATM, you had to get a 40 or whatever it is, you had to go back home, get an envelope or card or something. So now cash money in our day and age is thoughtful.
It's like a relic of the past.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to get this antique. Like I could have bought you a brand new sweater, but instead I went to an vintage clothing store and bought you this iconic producer's
Bespoke.
vintage, bespoke handmade thing. That's what cash is now.
It's true. And the thing also with getting cash is you spend cash now somebody who, when I have cash, I don't go to the grocery store and give them cash, right? Because like that's
Yeah.
weird. So I'll carry my cash around forever, and then at some point I'll buy something weird that I needed cash to buy,
Yeah.
right? Where so having cash in a pocket is a funny little adventure game that you get to play of when are you going to need this cash and for what? Because
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's not going to be for gas, not going to be for groceries, it's not going to be for anything where whipping the card out and tapping or inserting. Do you tap or insert?
Tap if given the option.
Always?
I mean, yeah, if it's there.
I always forget that it taps, and so I'll always insert, and then my card just like wears out, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man.
But the
I need a
tap
new
doesn't
card.
always work. The tap isn't
Yeah.
foolproof yet.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, the young person who you're thinking about giving the cash to, they don't even know what to do with the cash because they're like you. They don't encounter a situation in their life where somebody takes cash anymore.
Sure.
Maybe
But that's what I'm saying. Is that
I mean,
young person, though,
even the drug dealer on the playground in a modern kid's life takes Venmo. I bet.
I know. But imagine so then you're by giving this kid cash, you're sending him on a magical journey of what you can buy with this cash because it has the same value as 20 bucks in a Venmo, but it doesn't have the same at all like accessibility. So you're not just going to kid gets 20 bucks on Venmo, kid spends 20 bucks on Venmo on Roblox or whatever, right?
Right.
Like on some dumb thing right away, on some dumb digital thing. Can't spend put your 20 bucks into your iPhone, man. You got to go find something IRL to buy that to buy with that 20 bucks.
So we're going digital currency as a gift. Heck no. But giving cash has
Cash is
come
back.
back into fashion. Cash is
Cash
back.
is back.
Give him a roll of quarters.
Yeah. Best.
Really blow his mind. Be like,
Yeah.